Hello and welcome back to Florida Foodie. I'm your host, Lisa Bell, along with our producer, Thomas Mates. Today's guest has a very unique business that I think you're gonna love, and even a more unusual backstory.
He's been a stand-up comedian, a tour manager for Carrot Top, a real estate agent. He is the current dean of students at St. Cloud High School, and he operates his own gourmet bacon business out of the comedy club that he co-owns. We are so happy to be joined by Eric Godfrey from King U.S.A.
Hi.
Hey.
How do you fit so many hats on your head?
I got a big head.
That's not even a comprehensive list. I had to shorten it.
Yeah,
I just wanted to hit the high notes.
I'm like the Fred Gwynn of bacon. And do you even know who Fred Gwynn is, Lisa?
No, sir, I'm sorry.
Thurman Munster from the Munsters.
No.
Big head.
Okay.
But I've heard of Carrot Top.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yes.
Well, he's got the big hair.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Yes. So your focus now is bacon, but you started with Carrot Top. Mm-hmm. How did you start out with Carrot Top?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I'll keep it as short as possible. In college, I did stand-up comedy. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and so I started stand-up comedy while I was in college and working weekends, all throughout the Southeast. Get back in time for class on Monday. Go to the Bahamas for spring break. Work the comedy club down there. Lots of fun.
Living the dream.
Living the dream, the college student dream, absolutely. And I was just getting ready to graduate, believe it or not. I don't know how that happened, but I was able to graduate from UNC Charlotte with a 2.0151, mind you. Yeah, so,
no one asked you GPA in a comedy club.
No. My diploma still says I graduated. And at the time, Carrot Top had hit the scene, and he did what they call a NACA conference, National Association of Collegiate Activities. He did a NACA conference, and he got 86 schools that wanted him to perform during a one-semester period of time.
Which was a record.
Well, yeah, it was a record. The previous one was like 34 schools, Harry Chapin, the Cats in the Cradle guy. And so he needed help on the road. And because I just graduated and I was still like college age, his management at the time, who I was working for in his comedy club, said, hey, listen, why don't you have Eric go out with you on the road? He can help you drive the truck, a little black Nissan pickup truck that I did not fit in. And you can help you carry the trunks into the venue, help you set them up. You can go up in front of you and do 15, 20 minutes, warm up the crowd.
Were you two rolling around in this pickup truck together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What year was this?
91?
91.
Yeah, 91, a little black Nissan pickup truck.
Okay.
And so that's how it all started. And we would hit these colleges, and it was really weird. The way it worked out is that sometimes we do colleges at lunch in their cafeteria. They'd set up a stage right there in their cafeteria while they're sitting there eating their Salisbury steak, and Carrot Top's up there trying to do comedy. And then we'd pack up the show. We'd drive another 2 or 3, 4 hours and get to another college at night and play in their auditorium in front of 2,000 screaming kids, pack it all up and go to the hotel and get a nice rest and do it all over the next day.
And you loved it.
It was a blast.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. Sometimes the drives were a little bit crazy because the truck he had, the seat was stuck for his height. So I'm, driving it, and there was no dash lights, so I have to carry a lighter with me in the middle of the night and see how fast I'm going and all that stuff. But hey, all those miles, and I'm still here to talk about it.
Yes. So what actually brought you to Florida, where you actually had some roots, decided to plant some roots?
Carrot Top switched management to a manager who was based out of here in Florida. And matter of fact, the manager, I used to be the manager for Gallagher, another prop act that everybody knows about. And so he goes, hey, we're moving everything to Florida. Let's go. So I said, okay, let's go. So packed up the wife, and we were pregnant at the time, and came down here to Florida, started in Kissimmee, and now I'm in St. Cloud. So that's how all that started.
Which is fantastic. And you own some comedy clubs now.
Yeah, myself and my partner, Vinny Barber, we own a comedy club called Porky's Comedy Club. It's located inside of a barbecue restaurant called Jimmy Bear's in St. Cloud.
Which your partner also owns. Right?
Which my partner also owns. Yeah.
So,
it's an awesome barbecue restaurant.
I mean, everyone loves bacon.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So how did you go from just doing comedy with Carrot Top to becoming the Bacon King?
Well, it's self-appointed Bacon King. Nobody ate my bacon and go, you know what, you're the king of bacon. I said, there's my name. No,
I pull pig out of a stone.
It's all marketing. I built the logo before I made my first slab of bacon.
Have you always loved bacon?
Of course, look at me.
Yeah. He said
it. You all are thinking it, but I said it. Yeah, I'm not afraid.
But this is unique. So you brought some bacon today.
I did bring some bacon, yes.
What sets your bacon apart from what I go to the store and buy?
Well, what you go to the store and buy is mass produced. It goes through a curing process that can be as short as 30 minutes. If there's a curing process that takes pork belly and changes it into bacon in 30 minutes, there's a lot of chemical involved. A lot of chemical. And that's the stuff that's bad for you. And plus the bacon that you get at the store, I'd say is maybe 30% water weight. So when you get a pound of bacon, you're only getting about 3/4 of a pound of because it shrinks when you cook it. My bacon is made with fresh ingredients. My bacon does have a little chemical in the cure. It's a pink curing salt. It's a nitrate. But I use very, very little, just enough to cure the bacon. So it becomes a cured meat product where you actually can go a couple days without actually having it refrigerated.
So, do you actually raise these pigs?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. I get the pork belly from a supplier, and then from that point, it's never frozen. From that point, I create the cure. I use whatever ingredients for the different types of bacon, and the ingredients are endless. I can do whatever I want, and then the cure time takes 10 days.
Okay.
It's a 10-day cure. It's refrigerated. I go and I flip it every day, and then after 10 days, I take it, I let it dry, I smoke it, and I have our bacon.
This seems like it requires a large space to do all of this.
It all depends on how much you need to do. If I'm just doing 50 pounds, it's just one rack in the setup, and it's a real small area that in the cooler at my commissary, which is also Jimmy Bear's, that I go in on their days off. They're not open on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay.
So Vinny has allowed me to use his kitchen as my commissary, which saves a ton of money.
Right.
And I go in there on their days when they're not open and just do what I need to do.
When did you start doing this?
I came up with the idea, it's really weird. I came up with the idea back in November.
Wow.
Just recently.
Okay.
And it was one of those things that I was just about to fall asleep. And just for some reason, I just sort of started myself up and I said, bacon. I said, I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. I just said bacon. And the original,
Okay.
now this has gone through a couple renditions. So my first idea was, because I had a friend, Ray. Ray makes pork belly burnt ends, which is basically pork belly, but you cut it up and it's like meat candy. It's like you stick on it's like meat lollipop. So Ray did that, and I loved what he did, and so I did some myself. But then I realized that the only thing you can do is it depends on the sauce that you use to make the pork belly burnt ends. So you're limited. Then I went online and I researched and said how to make bacon. Because I already had the pork belly. I already made enough of the pork belly burnt ends. I want to try something different. So I found a recipe for bacon, and I made my first batch of bacon, and it turned out great. Good enough that I'm like, oh wow, and I gave it up to all the guys at school and everything else. And I'm like, this is really cool. And then I realized, based on the ingredients, there are unlimited kinds of bacon. And that was my first idea for the company was I was going to make bacon. If you love margaritas, it already has salt in the cure. Let's add a little lime juice and a little tequila. Let's make margarita bacon. All right, now that wouldn't be for me, but doesn't mean somebody else likes, or somebody who likes sweet bacon but it got a little bit of a heat to it.
Yes.
We can add some chili powder to some brown sugar or do whatever. The endless combinations are there, and that's what sort of came up with it. Then I took that idea and I decided, you know what?
I got to make a note of margarita bacon.
Margarita bacon. I'll make you some margarita bacon. And if you have me back, I can actually show you how to do it right here. This is plenty enough place to do it. Yeah, we can do it. But getting to that point is that my wife signed up for one of those paint things where the ladies get together and they drink wine and they paint. And then I'm like, wait a minute. If they can do that, why can't guys get together and drink beer and make bacon? So I have what I call the Bacon King experience that I have. The experience. Oh, it is an experience. That I have there at Jimmy Bear's throughout the weekend on Saturdays sometimes. And guys can come in and we sit down. I go through the whole history of how curing began and everything. And then we give them an actual 4 or 5 pound slab of pork belly, and we do the measurements and create the cure. And then I let them just go and make whatever they want. They have all the ingredients right there. If they want it sweet, they can go to this side and use all those ingredients. If they want it more savory, they can go to this side and use pepper and onion powder and garlic powder and create their own bacon. Then they take it home with them and they finish the cure at home. Then they smoke it.
So how many pounds is this?
That's probably about 1 1/4 pounds right there. Yeah.
And when you're doing the class, it's a much bigger
Oh,
slab.
yeah, it's a good 5 pound slab that the guys are working with, and that's what they get to take home and finish the 10-day cure at home. And then I give them instructions on how to smoke it and how to finish the product and create their own bacon.
What is it about bacon? It's just this draw, this universal draw.
It can be used for anything. It can be used for salads. It can be used for sandwiches. It can be used for breakfast. It can be used as a snack. I mean, that's the way I look at it. You know, it's the perfect snack meat. Some people like jerky. Some people like bacon, and bacon just seems to be more universal. You go to any breakfast buffet, there's always bacon on a buffet. always.
So if people want to buy some of your bacon, how do they do that?
I have a website,
Yeah, okay.
baconkingusa.com, and I do 5-pound slabs of pork belly and create, I have 2 different versions. I have what I call the meat candy, which is it's got maple syrup and brown sugar and some other ingredients in it. And I also have the Simply Salty, which is what I call it. It's more of the bacon that you would find at your grocery store, but the taste is just out of this world. It really is. And they can go in there and they can order it, and I can do it. It's not a last minute purchase. It takes a while for me to. It takes about 2 weeks for the whole process to happen. So as soon as I get done with it, and it is a cured meat product, so I get to ship it without refrigeration, and I can get it to your house in Central Florida in a day or anywhere in the country.
And what's interesting too is it comes in this big slab, then you leave it up to the consumer to slice it themselves.
Right. Why should I make that decision of how thick or thin that people like their bacon?
How do you slice something like that?
It's if you put it in the refrigerator and you chill it, it's a lot easier to slice. You just get a knife and just slowly watch your fingers, and you can slice it as thick or as thin as you want. It lays pretty flat on the counter. You just put it on a cutting board and have at it.
Can someone order like a bespoke bacon? Like, I want this flavor.
Yeah, how do I get the margarita bacon?
You send me an email.
Okay.
Eric at baconkingusa.com. Absolutely. I can do whatever you want. If you have a specific taste in mind, if you are from Louisiana and you want some Cajun spice in there, I can make a cure with Cajun spice and see how it turns. Look, there are no refunds. So if it shows up and you're like, oh, I'm not sure this Cajun thing works, well, you got yourself 5 pounds of Cajun bacon.
How do you recommend people cook their bacon?
Okay, so based on the type of bacon it is, there are 2 different ways. Let's just say these 2. So you have your Simply Salty. You would cook that just as normal, regular, everyday bacon. You can use the oven, you can use your skillet, whatever you prefer to use. Okay. Now, the sweet stuff that I call the meat candy, because it does have sugars in the cure, the sugars have a tendency to caramelize kind of quick. So you have to cook it at a little bit of a lower temperature. You have to flip it a little bit more often. And when you see it get to the color consistency or the crispness that you like, you got to immediately remove it. Otherwise, the outside edges will burn a little bit, and that's not what you want.
How many varieties have you yourself come up with?
Oh boy. When I first came up with the idea, Vinny, being the guy that he is, just gave me a whole case of pork belly and goes, have at it. Just go ahead, just experiment. So I probably did.
What a friend.
Yeah.
No, really, he's been a big help. We've known each other for 30 years, and
on the road,
we both did stand-up comedy about the same time, and he's been a big help with
and
my
he just
vision.
knew that you had this passion to kind of create this custom bacon.
Yeah, and I went to him first when I came up with the idea, and I explained everything to him, and there was a long pause, and he goes, "It's either already been done or this is a really good idea." And I did my research, and I couldn't find anybody who's done anything like this. So he was very helpful, allowing me to use Jimmy Bear's to use in my commissary on their time. I get to use all of his equipment. And he's not charging me anything to use all of his equipment. He has a big commercial smoker and everything else that I need to use.
And he's making barbecue.
Oh, he does very good barbecue. Yes.
Then are they featuring your bacon on?
We're getting to that point. We're getting to that point. He's got a couple dishes that use bacon, and so we're going to test to see which kind of bacon works best with that particular dish, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. And so on Thursday nights they have what they call rock and roll bingo, and so we've been giving away packages of bacon as their prize when they win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, are you cooking bacon while any of this is happening? Because I feel like the aroma in and of itself will just draw people.
Yeah,
right
so when I do farmers markets, I will have some bacon that is sliced. I will have I have a little propane griddle, and I will sit there and I will cook little samples of bacon. And I'd say probably 98% of the people who get a sample will actually end up purchasing some bacon from me right there on the spot.
I want to switch gears real quick because you have another job that we mentioned. You work at St. Cloud High School.
I do. Go Bulldogs.
And so give us a little bit of the history lesson on bacon, why they originally started curing meat.
Okay, all right. Real quick, it started about 3000 BC in Mesopotamia. We're...
Right. You were
Middle
around
East.
then, right?
Of course I was. Yeah. Of course I was. And of course, there was no refrigeration back then. And so big problem with spoilage of foods were going on. And there's different ideas as to how it sort of came about. The one I sort of gravitated to, and I think, in my opinion, is what happened, is that they had fish. and fish came from either freshwater or saltwater. And they realized that the fish that came from saltwater lasted longer than the fish that came from freshwater. And the only difference between the two is the salt. And so they started using salt and sesame seed oil to package the fish, and it lasted longer than just fish that wasn't using those ingredients. And that's sort of how it happened. And over a period of time, well, if it worked for fish, well, will it work for lamb? Will it work for beef? Will it work for whatever other meats or foods out there? And that's how it sort of evolved. From that part. Now, we have refrigeration, but if you don't cure it and give it that salty little flavoring into it, it's just pork.
How does running this business help you with your day in, day out job at St. Cloud High School?
It has nothing to do with St. Cloud High School.
I feel like it's a fun outlet, though, for you. When you're dealing with such a different topic.
It is, and what it is, it's actually something that the kids at St. Cloud High School, a lot of them, they follow me on TikTok. All right, because I had the little Bacon King thing, and I do some live. I did some lives where I was actually doing the cure and mixing it all up and everything like that. And it lets the kids see that good old mean Mr. Godfrey is kind of different outside of school. And that's my job at St. Cloud High School. But outside of school, I own a comedy club. I make bacon. I do other things, and it just gets to see a different side of me.
Do they know that you're friends with Carrot Top?
They don't have a clue who Carrot Top is. They don't have a clue. I show them, you guys don't know who Carrot Top is. I show them a picture and like, oh, okay.
You don't know the chairman of the board?
Yeah, chairman of the board. Yeah, they don't know who that is. And I find that the kids nowadays, they don't get comedy. They had, during the whole COVID thing, we had a prom. They wouldn't let the kids dance. It was a whole Footloose type thing. And so we brought in a comedian. And he was a teacher, a very, very funny guy. And the parent table was on the floor dying, and the kids just looking at him like.
Was it all like dad jokes?
No, it wasn't dad jokes. No, it was. The guy who I had, he's hilarious. He's on the board teachers tour right now, and he's got. But the parent table and the adult table, they were on the floor in stitches, and the kids are just looking. They're like, what is going on here?
Do you think that being a comedian helped you with your educational experience and talking to kids, and then likewise, has your educational experience brought that to when you're teaching people about how to make their own bacon?
Well, sure. When I was in the classroom, being a teacher and I taught science. I taught a class called physical science, chemistry, and physics, and having a comedy background and being in front of people, I was very at ease in front of the kids. So that wasn't a problem, and I would do what I could to try to make it as fun as possible for them too. Luckily, knock on wood, I didn't get in too much trouble, by being funny, or trying to be funny. But yeah, and then you take that knowledge of how you can teach to a group of people, and then when I do the Bacon King experience, as a matter of fact, the one I just did the other night, one of my former students was actually there, so he got to, just like old Mr. Godfrey teaching science, I'm actually teaching him how to make bacon.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
To be able to
of course, he's 28 now and he's drinking beer, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So we were mentioning earlier, and I don't know if you ever said your favorite bacon flavor.
Oh, definitely the meat candy. Definitely the sweetness in that one. It really is appealing to me, and it. When I give out the samples, and I give samples to both, most of the people gravitate to the meat candy bacon.
What is the strangest combination that people have requested when it comes to bacon and flavor?
Not really any requests. They like the sweet, but they like the hot too. So I did make some bacon that had all the ingredients of the meat candy, but I added a ton of chili powder into it, and they absolutely loved it. So it's exactly what they wanted. Got that sweet hot.
So where do you get your pork, and do you have plans for opening up your own farm?
No, I won't go that far. No, I'm not in that end of this. I'm at the end production. I'm not the beginning production.
The consumption.
Yeah, right. I get the bacon. Jimmy Bear's, they have their supplier, and so I get it through them. I get his prices, which helps me out a lot there. And it comes in a little 5-pound. Perfect little squares, and so that's what I use for my calculations for the cure that we use that's the main part of every bacon, no matter what other ingredients you put on, you have to have the cure correct, and it is a calculation.
And so many people say cooking is a lot of chemistry. And you
absolutely.
have a chemistry background.
Yeah. A little, tiny bit.
You just taught it.
Yeah, not Walter White chemistry, but no, it's and there's just, and you just, trial and error, a lot of it. Just like I said, you could try the margarita bacon, and it might be appealing to some, and it might not be appealing to everybody. So we'll see what happens.
So when a little peek behind the curtain as to how Mr. Godfrey here got booked on Florida Foodie, he sent me an email and just pitching. This is me. This is my business. This is what I do. But the thing that really caught my eye at first was my dream is to, and I'm paraphrasing, my dream is to raise enough money so I can take a picture of myself dressed as the Tiger King, but surrounded by pigs, followed by I'm dumb. Well, elaborate.
I mean, why would you want to make money just to do a stupid photo shoot? But when I came up with the name Tiger King, Bacon King, it immediately took me back to the big pandemic hit Tiger King, and I said, well, if I'm going to do this, let's have fun with it. I'm always about having fun, and so I said, let's make enough money. Let's get a photo shoot. I'll dress as a Tiger King. I'll even get a fake eye piercing. I get the knee brace, the whole 9 yards. But I'll just be surrounded by pigs. I think it'd be funny. Some people will look at it. Some people will look at it and you're like, oh, that's great. Some people look like, oh, why are you wasting that money? But that's the fun in it, right? So that's what I've always been that way.
What has the reception been like in the community and from customers? And
everyone who's done the Bacon King experience has absolutely loved it. I get emails and pictures. They send me pictures all the time. They're up on the Facebook page. And
are you always there for that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm the one who actually is showing them how to do it in the whole 9 yards. I would love to get this big enough to where I have comedian friends all over the country, and they always have time when they have weeks off and they're not doing anything. It's like, well, why can't I franchise this out and have a Bacon King experience in California or the Midwest or whatever, and give them all the information and all the product and everything that they need to do their own Bacon King experience, and I can just, do it all over the country.
They need to wake up saying bacon, and maybe they'll sign on for that.
Yeah. Probably that's not going to happen. And I have no idea what happened with me, but it's one of those things. I've had a lot of crazy ideas in my life, and I wish I would have done something with them.
Yeah.
But when this one came into my head, it's like, you know what? This is something I probably should at least follow through. And if it falls flat, it falls flat. I've had fun. I've made some bacon. People have enjoyed it, and we move on.
Nothing better than making bacon with some comedy mixed in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So what are your plans for the future?
Well, I'd like to see where this goes. I'm actually in talks. I'm going to be making some samples for a very prestigious hotel down in Miami who would like to possibly showcase Bacon King bacon. And we talked about it, and it's one of those things that you have the regular bacon on whatever they have, but have this as a premium add-on if they want to have the different kinds of bacon. And we can make 2 or 3 different kinds, and it would be specific. The recipe that I would create would be specific for that hotel and for nobody else.
And being in Central Florida as well. I mean, there are so many opportunities.
There are. It's just one of those things. I've never really had, huge goals as to what I want to do. I just want to just do it and just see what happens.
Yeah, I know in our conversations you said that because it's pretty low maintenance insofar as like what you need to put on the experience.
Yes, right.
You had mentioned taking it on the road. What would be the?
I've got it all down to 3 little cases. Everything I need, including all the spices and the salts and the curing salts and everything else. I can literally go. It's almost like a Pampered Chef thing where I can just call me up. You got 10 people, sign them up, and I can go anywhere in the state of anywhere.
I mean, you mentioned margarita bacon. I have to imagine you have Bloody Mary bacon.
Well, I've not made that yet, but why not? Let's give it a shot.
Okay. Bourbon bacon.
Oh yeah, we can. I've added bourbon. I've added bourbon to some of the cures that I've done. It gives it a unique taste.
Okay.
But that's going to be an acquired taste.
Was there anything that just didn't work?
Yeah. I just tried some ingredients. Just trying to throw them together. I tried to come up with a sweet and a savory together, and it just sort of just blended into a bunch of brown. It just didn't turn out well.
What were some of those ingredients?
I had some chipotle.
Okay.
I had some chili powder. I had some brown sugar. I had some white sugar. I had a little bit of honey, things like that, and just kind of just got all mixed up. It was
not good.
No, not good. So I try to keep it as simple as possible, and just take it from there.
Well, where can people find you online?
Well, they can find me online, of course, at our website, baconkingusa.com.
Okay.
You can find us on Facebook, Bacon King USA.
TikTok.
Bacon King USA. That seems to be the running theme. Bacon King USA. Nobody else took that name for some reason, so I'm wondering if I've made a mistake. Now there is a Bacon King, and that's a hamburger from Burger King, but not Bacon King USA. And,
Okay.
I'm hoping for no copyright infringement, but it's a completely different product, so I think we'll be okay.
Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for
thank you
coming
guys
and
so
joining
much.
us.
This has been
and
awesome.
yes, we can't wait to sample some of this bacon.
Absolutely.
We'll take it home. This is ready to eat. You just got to fry it
You
up.
just got to fry it up, absolutely.
Or put it in the oven.
Or put it in the oven, yeah, 350, and just have at it. And I think you'll enjoy it. Keep an eye on it, especially the meat candy one.
Keep it on low.
Yeah, you just keep an eye on it. That's all.
As always, Eric Godfrey, so much fun.
Thank you.
you. Come back and visit us.
Oh, I would love to.
Yes.
Like I said, I'll come back and I'll actually show you guys how to do this. You want me to?
Okay.
I have no problem with
The
that.
whole Bacon King experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Florida Foodie. We'd also like to thank our guest, Eric Godfrey. You can find his business online at baconkingusa.com. You can also find it on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Be sure to follow Lisa Bell online. Search Lisa Bell News on Facebook and Instagram, or Lisa Bell News 6 on Twitter. You can also find Candace Campos on social media. She's on Twitter. Just search @Candace News 6. On Facebook, search Candace Campos News 6. And on Instagram, search Candace Campos WX. Also, a big thank you to our technical producer, Derek Mosier, and Ryan Haley, our post-production audio engineer, Chris Flora, and our director, Bob Myers. I'm the show's producer, Thomas Mates. Please take the time to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or wherever you stream podcasts. And you can find videos of all of our podcasts on clickorlando.com and on YouTube. Just search for Florida Foodie.